Hello, my neighbors. It's been a while. I've been busy with work and family and haven't had time nor the energy to create some proper videos. But after playing Fallout 3 again, I just started recording not knowing if I would turn it into anything. So let's have a go and take a look back at Fallout 3. Fallout 3 came out October 28th, 2008. At this time, I was but a 12-year-old child. This would be the very first open-world RPG I would have ever played, and boy did it leave an impression on me. Open-world choice-based RPGs are, in my opinion, the most imperative genre of video games. Games like Fallout, Elder Scrolls, Mass Effect are great at losing yourself in a whole new world and to escape the realities of life for a bit. Playing these types of games as a child made me reflect on my own decision-making skills and changed the way I thought of real-world situations. It caused me to see everything as an if and then situation. If I do this, then this will happen. I would also state any variables that may happen to change the then. This greatly helped me grow as a child and would be further developed as an adult, making constant moral and philosophical decisions. I am 27 as of making this video. 15 years has passed since this released. Let's see if I appreciate this game as much now as I did as a child. We'll go over the story, summarizing my thoughts about it. Afterwards, I'll critique the gameplay. Let's begin. When you start a new game, you're greeted with an interesting camera shot, reversing from a bus playing some 1950s style music, to reveal the world has been decimated. Ron Perlman then explains what happened to this world and where you currently stand in this world. After this, your character is created from birth, where you choose boy, girl, also deciding what horrible, melted plastic doll you look like. If you're wearing armor, it'll mostly be superficial. You then watch your mother die in front of you, followed up with an arduous montage of key events of living life in a vault. It's a freaking drag, and honestly Bethesda could have done better, and they could have condensed the beginning altogether, or skip the vault entirely. Once you're 19, the story kicks off with your dad leaving the vault, and the overseer declaring martial law, killing your dad's friend Jonas, and causing the vault to descend into anarchy. Amada, your childhood friend, warns you and assists you in leaving, even providing you a weapon. This is a good time to learn about combat, VATS, sneaking, etc. This is also a good intro into moral choices you make. For example, Butch, your childhood bully, comes begging for your help dealing with radroaches attacking his mom. Do you A. help Butch, forgiving his past deeds, B. arm Butch with your BB gun your father gave you, teaching him to stand up for himself, or C. tell him to fuck the ride off? There's a lot of hard moral choices, or not so hard moral choices depending on your personality that you'll run into. You make your way through the vault, and you can confront the overseer by killing him, passing a speech check threatening Amada's life, or just finding a key in his office to leave the vault. At the end of this prologue, you open the vault you thought has been sealed since the bombs first fell. Amada says her goodbyes and responds to you accordingly to how you treated her father. Once you get to the exit door, it is best to save for future playthroughs, as you can respec and redesign your character as you leave. Upon leaving the vault, you are blinded by the light outside since you were in the vault your entire life. This is a great shot to introduce to a new player. In the distance, you can see the Washington Monument and a road leading to your next objective. Your short-term mission laid before you, and your long-term mission on the horizon. The path and quest leads you to Megaton, the first settlement you're introduced to. You meet a fancy sheriff who is very pleasant and can give you info about the Wasteland while also offering you a job to defuse the nuke in the center of town. These guys built a settlement surrounding a live nuke. Okay, you can see the dark humor begin to show itself in this game. There is a lot of seriousness in this game, but there's so much dark humor that makes you grin at how silly life is in the Wasteland. The tone matches perfectly with what Bethesda was aiming for. I ask around for more quests, doing what favors I can. I defuse the bomb, kill Mr. Burke who asked me to let the bomb explode, and agree with Moriarty to go shake down a junkie for his money in turn for info on my dad. Oh, and I met Moira, who I agreed to make a Wasteland survival guide for by subjecting myself to dangerous situations for the sake of science. Most Fallout games do this where you are trying to do the main quest, but they'll throw in shiny object, shiny quests. Come check this out. Eventually you get so caught up, you forget, who's dad? What was I doing? So I help her find supplies in a super duper mart which is filled with raiders. These are your typical no-name human enemy NPCs you fight through the Wasteland. Most of them aren't very fleshed out. They're simply evil and want to rob, kill, or do non-YouTube friendly stuff to you. Moira also forces me to check out a town filled with mines for science. This town is pretty cool and lots of free mines if you're careful. Moira's whole questline is actually really great for new players. You learn about looting, fighting raiders, mines, rad damage, DC ruins, mutated animals, etc. I recommend every player knocks it out. It's very good rewards when completed as well. I make my way to Galaxy News Radios to find Three Dog. If you haven't met them yet, this is where you'll first meet super mutants and feral ghouls, another main enemy in the Wasteland. You run into the Brotherhood of Steel here. They believe in confiscating all technology, thinking humanity isn't responsible enough for it. They're not wrong, but they are also human, so the only thing preventing humanity from abusing this technology is their best judgment? Yeah, their ideology is BS. Luckily, this East Coast chapter is less fanatical than the West Coast one, and actually is focused on ending the super mutant threat in DC while providing assistance to civilians. These guys are going to be the closest thing to the main good guys as you'll get. You fight the super mutant threat at GNR and fight your very first behemoth, a 40 foot tall Shrek that can one-hit you if you miss with the portable nuke launcher that you're given. You're supposed to finish this portion and talk to Three Dog, but with knowing what I know, I ignored that and went straight to Rivet City. Heck, I didn't do Three Dog's quest until after the end of the game. I didn't even realize you can do that. Traveling to Rivet City, you get exposed to a lot of the DC super mutants and preps you for the repetition of doing so. Rivet City itself is pretty cool. It's an old aircraft carrier, repurposed as a settlement. It has heavy defense and only one way in, one way out. It is a nightmare to navigate, as most Navy sailors will agree. It's pretty accurate how frustrated you would be trying to find where to go on an aircraft carrier. There's a lot of side quests to do, main one being the replicated man. You talk to the Zimmer dude when you go to Dr. Lee for info on your dad. He states he lost an android, is trying to find him. This is one quest you don't have to actively pursue, as you kind of passively get info through the wastes, and it can be completed later. I found info that Dad went to go find this vault on the opposite side of the map, so I make my way there. Unlike the DC ruins, the open wastes are vast and empty, except for all the death claws, rat scorpions, and Yao Guai trying to eat you. On my way there, I run into Evergreen Mills. I thought this was going to be a quick stop, but turned out to be a massive location that took hours to finish. I killed dozens of raiders, a behemoth, freed some slaves, then called it a day. I finally make it to Vault 112, where I am introduced by robots to hop into the pod. Upon entering the pod, you enter a simulation. In the simulation though, if you die for real. It's a picture-perfect representation of a pre-war suburb. Come to find out, the girl in the center of it is actually a Dr. Braun, the doctor your father came to see. He is a psychopath who keeps torturing the residents of the vault in the simulation. You can A, follow his commands in torturing the residents to eventually be let go by serial killing them, or B, trigger the failsafe mentioned to you by a resident, which causes a Chinese invasion simulation that mercy kills the residents, trapping Dr. Braun here forever. I went with B, as I was a good boy, and it was the shortest route. You reunite with Dad, and y'all catch up like, "Hey Dad, why the hell did you leave your daughter?" Honestly, he was so dumb to leave you in the vault. A man as smart as him should have known the Overseer would take it out on you. That was very irresponsible of him. Like, what if the Overseer killed you? But plot has to plot. He's so focused on his mission to clean the irradiated waters, he dips straight to Dr. Lee. "Yeah, nice seeing you too, Dad." I explore the southwestern map a bit just to see what I would run into. Like a dumb, naive woman obsessed with Nuka-Cola. I also ran into a 10-penny tower filled with ghoul bigots. The owners wanted me to kill these ghouls nearby, but I negotiated a plan to have the ghouls stay in the tower by forcing the bigots to leave. No violence, and the bigots get what's coming to them. How bad is it? How bad is your bigotry that you rather leave the safest location you know than to be with ghouls near you? Yeah, they deserve to die. I also head back to Greyditch, where I was given a quest by a boy who ran away from fire-breathing ants. You find his dad dead, may he rest in peace, and you give him the bad news. You further investigate to find out a crazed scientist caused this whole mess. He admits fault and gives you a solution to the problem, while also giving you a permanent fire resistance buff. You lead the boy to his only living relative in Rivet City, and all is well. Also, while I was there, I stopped a guy from offing himself. Yay, more good karma. By now, I have finally enough info to finish the Replicated Man quest. I go into the broken bow of Rivet City and talk with Mr. Pinkerton, a facial reconstruction surgeon. He tells me the truth about the android's real identity. He also offers to reconstruct my face. The real android is none other than Harkness, the chief of security that you first meet when entering Rivet City. But he has no memory he's an android. So, here's another morality choice. Do you, A, give Zimmer some broken components convincing him the android is dead, leaving Harkness be? B, reveal the truth to Harkness, who has you execute Zimmer, ending the Institute threat? Or C, give Harkness off to Zimmer? I went for B, as it felt like the best answer. I explored Southern Arlington for a bit, finishing the Wasteland survival guide, and decided, hey, I forgot about my dad like he forgot about me. Let's go see what he's up to. Dad and a gang of Rivet City scientists head over to Jefferson Memorial, where Project Purity is housed. I play Errand Boy, cleaning up the superhuman mess and fixing things up. Or I guess it would be Errand Girl because I'm playing a girl on this playthrough. Regardless, I even hear some old recordings of Mom and Dad. This whole project was your mom's dream. And then finally you hear her voice. Hearing her so ecstatic about her work, it makes you want to ensure this project works to help people. Your dad tells you how proud he is of you and the good deeds you've done in the Wasteland. He gives you one last task. Daughter, son, whichever one you are, go fix this intake pump. Upon going to the pump and fixing it, you see vertibirds and Enclave soldiers descending on the facility. The Enclave is remnants of the U.S. government who still think there is a U.S. government and have come to take the facility so they can dictate who gets water. See, it's all about control. That's how government is. You fight them off and rush over to see the main villain, Colonel Autumn, ordering your dad to hand over the facility. Your dad sets a self-destruct off, killing everyone in the room. In his last breath, he looks at you and tells you to run. You spent all this time to find your dad just for him to be taken like that and to die right before your eyes. Defending the project your mother cared so much for. And finally being able to hear her voice for the first time. You escort the remaining scientists and fight through Enclave and ghoul-infested tunnels. You finally make it out to the now destroyed Pentagon, now renamed as the Citadel, the Brotherhood of Steel's main base. Dr. Lee then demands Elder Lyons, their leader, to do something about the Enclave. He is calm and respectful, and she just yells at him saying he's patronizing her. Dang, Dr. Lee, I get it, we're all stressed out, but these dudes have miniguns, better play nice. Elder Lyons is really cool. He pays his respect as he knew your father. He even accepts your offering to go after the Enclave. He wasn't even considering it until it's found out that Enclave know about the G.E.C.K, an advanced piece of technology that could get Project Purity working. He opens up his armory to you, as one of his paladins teach you power armor training. Power armor is this very durable and vital armor for basically all in-game counters. It makes you slow, but it makes you tough. The G.E.C.K is housed in Vault 87, but you can't reach it without radiation poisoning. You find a path through a little lamplight, but you can't pass it until you help this child mayor named McCready. Little Lamplight is a settlement where only children live, and once you become old, you must leave. This is more of that weird dark humor that requires you to suspend your disbelief, because I don't fully believe of how this could really work in the big world. We head to Paradise Falls, where 2 of McCrady's citizens have been sold into child slavery. That's how bad these raiders are. I mop up the place as I abhor slavers, and I do not negotiate with them. I bring the 2 back, and McCrady lets me through. Once you get to Vault 87, the super mutants are extremely dangerous, and you'll need plenty of stim packs and ammo. Vault 87, you come to find, is the source of all the super mutants in the Wasteland, and you find out about all the horrifying FEV experience that went down. FEV being the virus that created super mutants in the first place. So, you clear the area and run into Fox, a super intelligent super mutant imprisoned by his dumb brothers, because he was different. He offers to retrieve the G.E.C.K in turn for his freedom. I agree, and we become the best buds, killing the rest of his brothers. He retrieves the G.E.C.K for me in this super irradiated area since he is immune to radiation. He thanks me for saving his life and says we must part ways. You head out feeling accomplished, but then this happens.
Objective is secured, sir.
Good work, soldier. Make sure the G.E.C.K is secured aboard my vertibird.
Yes, sir. I'll have the techs come down and remove it immediately, sir.
You're certain she's unharmed?
Yes, sir. She'll pass out shortly, but we can revive her.
Excellent. Prepare her for transport immediately.
Right away, sir.
You were so close. You had the G.E.C.K right in your hands. You fought so hard through these super mutants just to get the G.E.C.K, just for the Enclave to get the drop on you and to stun you and kidnap you and take the G.E.C for themselves. That hurts, man. It hurts hard. Colonel Autumn successfully captured you and takes you to his HQ of Raven Rock. He's interrogating you for the code to the purifier when the eye camera interrupts. Yes, the camera is talking. President Eden, a voice you may have heard from the Enclave radio bots across the Wastelands, orders him to see him now. The President uses his absence to free you and asks you to come meet him in person. From the start, it makes you wonder who's actually in charge of the Enclave, as there seems to be some sort of power struggle going on. You leave, intimidating a patrolling guard, and head to meet the President. Halfway there, Colonel Autumn orders over the intercom all of his troops to ignore the President's orders and to shoot you on sight. It appears we know who is truly in charge. You fight your way all through the compound. Hope you brought enough ammo and stim packs for Vault 87 and this. It's non-stop action from the moment you went into the vault. It's not stopping. Like, we're hitting the finish line. You better be ready for fights, more fights, no talking, more fights. Which they do a pretty good job on wrapping this up, in my opinion. You finally make it to meet President Eden, who is apparently just an AI. He offers you a strain of the FEV virus to put into Project Purity that would kill any non-pure humans drinking the water. So essentially everyone at this point. All Colonel Autumn wanted was a means for control, which is evil, but at least he's not going to kill basically all of humanity. I rejected his offer and convinced him, hey, kill yourself and destroy the base with you. If you pass the speed check, he obliges. If you don't, you can find the self-destruct code and do it yourself. After leaving Raven Rock, you come across one of the coolest scenes in Fallout 3. Vertibirds are fleeing an exploding Raven Rock as Fox is downhill, mowing down Enclave soldiers with a Gatling laser, laughing. Apparently, instead of going your separate ways, Fox, being the toll stud that he is, saw you get abducted, tracked you down, and planned to break you out with nothing but sheer will and his Gatling laser. Fox has fully earned my respects, and hands down one of the best companions ever. Oh, and he will follow you as a companion now, as long as you have good karma, which I do. Once you make it back to the Citadel, you inform Elder Lyons that the Enclave has the G.E.C.K, and they brought it to Project Purity. They don't have the password, but it's only a matter of time before they find it. The Lion's Pride, an elite Brotherhood outfit led by Sarah Lyons, is ready to launch an attack. Elder Lyons, feeling though he has no choice, orders an immediate assault on the Enclave. Led by none other Liberty Prime, a tall, Power Ranger-like Mechazord that can roll over all of the Enclave. You escort Liberty Prime, or more if he escorts you, all the way to Project Purity, gunning down all Enclave on the way, while talking about killing communists because it was a weapon from the pre-war days, so they were very anti-communism. It's their whole spiel. After all the intense fighting, you make it to Project Purity, where you and the Lion's Pride fight Enclave in close quarters combat on the way to the Purifier Room. Once there, you finally face off against Colonel Autumn. You have several choices to handle him. You can A, talk him down into giving up, or B, shoot him down like a dog for killing your father. I thought about this, what the story demanded. Typically, in the past, I would just straight up kill him, but I chose to be like my father and mother and forgive him and give him a chance to give up because he already lost. Forgiveness is a big thing. I know a lot of people will just agree just to kill him, but maybe he changes his ways. We'll have to see. You win whichever choice you pick, but there's a problem. Project Purity has been so damaged and is leaking high doses of radiation. Someone has to go in and turn it on, but that someone isn't going to make it back. Standard choice is either you self-sacrifice or the bad karma force Sarah Lyons to do it. If you have a high enough karma and Fox is following you, you can have him do it since he's already immune to the radiation. This saving you and Sarah. So it's very imperative you have very high karma if you want to be a good boy before you meet Fox, so you can take him with you. You give him the passcode, which is your mother's favorite Bible verse, Revelations 21:6. Project Purity turns on as the screen turns white and the in-game slides roll, explaining the consequences of your actions.
And so it was that the lone wanderer ventured forth from Vault 101, intent on discovering the fate of a father who had once sacrificed the future of humanity for that of his only child. The capital Wasteland proved a cruel, inhospitable place, but the lone wanderer refused to surrender to the vices that had claimed so many others. The values passed on from father to child: selflessness, compassion, honor, guided this noble soul through countless trials and triumphs. It was not until the end of this long road that the lone wanderer was faced with that greatest of virtues: sacrifice. But the child refused to follow the father's selfless example, instead allowing a true hero to venture into the irradiated control chamber of Project Purity. Thankfully, when selected by the sinister president to be his instrument of annihilation, the Wanderer refused. Humanity, with all its flaws, was deemed worthy of preservation. The waters of life flowed at last, free and pure for any and all. The capital Wasteland, at long last, was saved. So ends the story of the lone wanderer, who stepped through the great door of Vault 101 and into the annals of legend. But the tale of humanity will never come to a close, for the struggle of survival is a war without end. And war never changes.
That's the end of the base game, not including every single side quest. So, it's time to talk the story. I think the story of Fallout 3 is pretty great. I don't think it's outstanding or anything, but I believe it carries itself well, despite a couple plot holes and some situations that feel like they happen just so the plot can plot. As Bethesda's first endeavor of turning Fallout into an open-world third-person, first-person RPG, they did a great job, and I love the decision-making you get to do in games. But now that I'm adult, I do feel like the decision-making at times can boil down to just being a goody two-shoe or evil incarnate. I feel some more gray morality choices were needed in this game. The final act in the story from Vault 87 to Raven Rock to the Battle of Project Purity is badass for the time period this was released in, and it's a go, 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 non-stop combat. They did the ending well in regards to combat, but I feel the final choice was a little convoluted with the radiation room. As you find out in the Broken Steel DLC, your decision at the end, it didn't fucking matter who you sent in the purify room because no one dies anyway. Way to remove all weight out of an in-game decision. Bethesda, you kind of fucked up here. Broken Steel in the first place should have been included in the base game, and they should have wound up the story at the end of Broken Steel a little bit better, which we'll go into that once we get into the Broken Steel DLC and the other DLCs. All things considered, overall, Fallout 3's story still stands pretty well in 2023, and I still had fun playing it, despite the quirky gunplay and gameplay, which I'll get into in another part of this video. So, what did you think about Fallout 3? Does it stand on its own in 2023? Did you like the video? Please make sure to subscribe to help me grow. I spend so much time making these videos, and I would greatly appreciate y'all's help supporting and helping a small creator grow. Thank you for stopping by, and as always, come be my neighbor.